Welcome. My name is Ryan Martin from Outwork Management Associates in the Netherlands. Today I'd like to preview our project management vertical for Microsoft CRM. I've created one test project for our example today, and when opening this record, we'll begin to see particular details concerning it. We've provided the possibility to promote cases into projects, but this is also possible from opportunities, quotes, or even orders. When browsing through the General tab, we see such information as the key user, the date needed, and then we get to one of our key features, the request type. Based on the number of days a project has in duration, we classify it as a small, medium, or large project. When this project is created, a number of set workflow rules will be triggered and a number of activities will be created for the project manager to distribute to his or her resources. When looking at the planning dates of the project itself, we have an estimated start and an estimated end date. We also track the actual start and the actual end date so that when looking at reporting, we can see the number of days ahead or behind all of our particular projects. Now, once the basic information of the project is defined, we then begin to add project resources. In this particular case, I've added 3 different resources to my project, 2 of which are not internal, 1 of which is. Wim de Knikker has a standard hourly rate of $45. This cannot be overwritten because he is internal, but external resources can have their hourly rate overwritten. Additionally, we see the estimated hours per resource, and the actual hours are tracked from the timesheets which are generated within the system, which would move us on to the timesheet section, in which we can see for this particular project we have 3 timesheet lines which have been recorded, one for Henry Snyder's, one for Ryan Martin, and one for Wim de Knikker, all with different hours correlating to the actual hours we saw on the resource tab. If we would now navigate back to the information section of our project and we look at the cost section, then we get to see this information actually being tracked on the project level. So we split estimated internal and estimated external costs, but because we've booked the timesheet lines, the actual costs are also tracked. So in the end, we have an estimated total cost of our project and an actual total cost. One of the examples of workflow rules which you can implement is if the actual total cost of a project exceeds the estimated total cost, you can automatically send an email to that project manager and perhaps their manager as well. Projects are mainly about activities, what type of phases and tasks you have to do in order to realize the request. As mentioned before, the request type determines the number of tasks that will be generated for this particular project. This project has 3 phases, as we can see here, and each phase has a number of subtasks which are associated to it. For example, if we look at the technical design phase and we open this, we'll see within our task that it is not a project phase, but it is linked to phase 1. This will later on be reflected in our planning report, which we're going to take a look at. We can see that we've looked at the planning from week 35 through week 45, and we've sorted by the start date for each task. So we get a nice graphical overview of exactly in which week which tasks are taking place, and if there's a problem with the planning or a conflicting planning point, then they'll be indicated in red, for example. So this concludes some of the key product features of our project management solution, and I'd like to thank you for viewing our demonstration.